In a moment, I won't have a clean shaven face and I won't be wearing this sick new embroidered Rebel Resource sweater. Shameless plug again. But let's dig into this interview with the Magic the Gathering pro, Pascal Maynard. I have Pascal Maynard with us today. He agreed. I impromptu commented on a Facebook post. I was like, is that Pascal Maynard from Magic the Gathering? Like the Goifgate Pascal? And I couldn't believe I saw your name posting about Star Wars Unlimited. So I DM'd you and you agreed to do an interview. So thank you very much for taking an hour of your day to set this up and figure out these camera issues. So today I'm just going to be interviewing you on a little bit on your history and Magic, and then, Star Wars Unlimited and where you'd like to see it go and kind of from there. So I guess before we jump in, do you want to give a little introduction of yourself, like your accomplishments as, a Magic the Gathering pro, right? That's what you are based off of your in the past, what you've done. And do you still play Magic? What have you accomplished and things like that?
Hello. I come from a Magic background. Obviously, I'm still very, very new to Star Wars. And as Ryan said, I own a store in Quebec City, and we run events. We run a bunch of Star Wars events, and we just post a deck list. And I know that whenever there's a new game or a new format, because we've done that for pre-modern in Magic too, which is like a community format. And when we post deck lists, we're like, oh, I want to see those deck lists, even if it's like a 20-person tournament, just because there's very few information online, very few tournaments, so everyone wants to see the new stuff. So I always try to post on the biggest Facebook groups they are, and I believe the one that I posted in is the biggest. And Ryan was one other person, and some other people were like, "Are you Pascal Maynard from Magic?" And it's funny because I'm literally just doing marketing for my store, right? I'm just sharing.
What's your store, by the way? Can you shout your store out?
Yeah, it's the Mythic store, or La Boutique Mythique in French, in Quebec City.
Cool.
We specialize in TCGs, so we only do TCGs, Magic, Pokemon, Flesh and Blood, Star Wars, Lorcana, mostly.
So in a little bit, I pulled it up because, it's an interview. I pulled up, you had a second place finish for Pro Tour Ixalan. Sorry about that, second, not first. Seventh place.
I lost to Seth Manfield.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great player. Seventh place at Pro Tour Oath of Gatewatch, and you have 13 GP top eights, 2 wins at GP Mexico City and GP Buenos Aires, both in 2015. And then obviously one of the most famous things you're known for is at GP Las Vegas 2015. You took a foil Tarmogoyf instead of, I believe, a Burst Lightning.
Yeah.
Okay, I was in college at the time, and my friends and I were like, I would have taken the Goyf. I would have done it. I want that payout. I would have paid for my student loans with that. So, yeah, that's funny. Do people still bring that up a lot, or is that something that still comes up?
Yeah, definitely. It's even more than I have a store now. So a lot of our customers are people that already knew me from my Magic background, but also a lot of them are new players. There's been a lot of new Magic players in the past 5 years, not just at the store, just in general.
Yeah.
And after a year of going to the store, they stumble into a video where they talk about the Tarmogoyf thing, and they're like, is that the guy who owns the store where I go to? And then next time they see me, they're like, they talk to me about it, obviously.
Yeah. Well, we don't have to talk about it because I'm sure you talk about it all the time. So
there's definitely at least 5 of your recommended videos to the right now of this YouTube channel that's going to be about this for the viewers, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say another thing that you're known for. So you're known for your accomplishments, Goifgate, and then Post Malone showed up at your game store because of I don't know what brought him there, but he ended up showing up at your game store. What was that like?
Yeah, he didn't show up to the store. So there was a concert. There's a big summer music festival in Quebec City, and he was the headliner for the biggest day basically in the week. And so I posted on Twitter when I knew he was going to come there, and then someone from his team reached out, and then we set up something. He was supposed to come to the store. Well, that was the plan. but it did not end up working out because it didn't have enough time. So we just they ended up giving us like backstage passes, and then we went there. We hung out there, and then after the show, we played for like 3 hours with him.
I'm
That
assuming he
was
kicked his butt.
insane. I did win. I did win, but we played
You hear that,
Commander.
Posty? You lost. Just teasing.
That's like my fifth Commander game lifetime. So
Oh,
I've
that's
not
funny.
known. I would have. I expected to get my ass kicked, but it's Commander and like
Yeah.
multiplayer and
Yeah, well, Post, if you're watching this, fly me out. I'll teach you how to play Star Wars Unlimited. And yeah, I speaking of like celebrities playing card games, like Post is like the celebrity poster child of Magic right now. I know there's other famous people that play Magic, of course, but do you think that like Star Wars Unlimited, do you think that it's interesting because I feel like that helped the game a lot. I know a lot of people that were like, oh, that nerdy card game, like Post Malone plays it, and then they started playing Magic. It's crazy.
for sure.
Do you think that like this game could get something like that, like a celebrity in this game at all, or how does that? I guess it's all chance pretty much. I don't know how that even works.
Yeah, because I think for it to really work, the quote unquote celebrity like needs to actually like the game, right? It can't just be like, I mean, it could be a promotion, whatever, they make an ad or something, but I think if they actually love it and then they repeatedly play it and talk about it because that's something they do, it's great, right? But
absolutely, yeah. Did he have the One Ring or no? Like the actual card with him? No, that thing is like.
Oh, I didn't even have a deck, so we landed like we had a bunch of decks and you just picked one.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. All right. So when it comes to when it comes to Magic, are you still playing competitively? Are you still traveling, or is life kind of you've changed pace of life? How does that work out?
Yeah, I don't play nearly as much as I used to because I run a business now, but also, yeah, well, mostly the business side of things. I just can't play enough. I just can't play like as much as I want to, I guess, and can't travel as much, can't prepare as much. So I just pick a few tournaments that I go to and I prepare the way I used to prepare. So I take like a good month to prepare for an event, stuff like that. I play I don't know if you're familiar with the circuit right now, but it's basically RCs, so regional championships. So you qualify for those, which is very easy in Canada. So you don't really have to because for example in Europe it's really hard to qualify, but here you just show up to like a 10-person tournament somewhere in some random city and the top 4 qualifies. So
oh my goodness, easy. Wow.
So I play the RCs, which are every 4 months, 3 or 4 months, I believe, and since those have existed for the past like 2 years, I've played all of them. That's about it. I did well, but not quite. I think you need to top 8 to qualify for the Pro Tour, essentially, and that's the only way to qualify for the Pro Tour. You need to top 8, and then just recently they changed it to top 16.
Okay.
And then the last one they changed to top 16, and the one before that I finished 9th.
Oh my goodness, that's a bummer.
And like 2 before I finished in the top 16 as well. So I do well, but I don't top 8, and that's what you need. And now it's top 16, and I guess we'll see.
Yeah, and Star Wars Unlimited right now, they have PQs, Planetary Qualifiers, and they're very similar. You have to get first place to qualify for day 2 of the Worlds. And the first Worlds is going to be an open, but eventually you're going to have to accumulate points, like a point system to qualify to even get an invite to Worlds. It's similar, but not. I think Magic probably has a bit more streamlined of an approach right now to that. In terms of
the Star Wars one seemed fairly easy to understand. I was glued to the stream, the OP stream, when they announced it. I would it was on my calendar. I was like, I'm gonna plan my life around this.
Yeah,
because I really like the game. Like we talked earlier, I told you that I don't know a lot about the game yet. Like I don't know all the meta decks and the specifics, but I've played games. I understand it just enough that I know that I want to master it.
Let's pivot into Star Wars Unlimited. So let's start. What got you into the game? What pulled you in? What got you actually like, hey, I actually want to try and play this game?
Yeah, I'll make it quick, but basically one of my good friend who doesn't play cards at all was like, hey, can your store get Star Wars cards of any kind? Of any kind. He didn't know anything about it. He was just like, is there a Star Wars game? And I looked up and I was like, oh yeah, there's one that comes out in March. Didn't even plan on ordering it at all. Nobody else like told me about it before. So
Yeah.
I just looked into it. Um, so we ordered a bunch. It came out. I tried it. Uh, I just fell in love with the action mechanic, like the
Yeah.
back and forth. I thought that was awesome. The leader, and I've tried like other Star Wars games or heard about it, and it felt like it always was. It was never working because it always had like a gimmick that was just a little too much to understand or like too
Yeah.
far off. And when I played that game, it just felt like they got the good combination of simple, but has a twist that's not too complicated to understand and not too far off. So that's kind of like what hooked me up, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of liken it to like they combine the resourcing system of Lorcana and then the combat system alterations, right? Instead of blocking, you attack into
Yeah,
units, you don't block with units. They took the combat system magic, combined it, and they took the sequencing of chess and actually put it into the game. And
yeah.
people compare magic to chess, and I'm like,
Oh,
actually, that's
that's way
not.
closer
Yeah, this is way closer. Like I now
for sure.
I don't use that comparison. I use the comparison of board state analysis to say magic is like chess, like looking at the pieces on the table and analyzing threats.
Yeah,
But this game is actually more like chess than any other game TCG I played in a very long time, where you take actions back and forth like that.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think people who play chess, I've been playing bullet chess, and when I played this game, I was like, oh, like I'm thinking 3, 4 turns ahead already, actions ahead, because in chess you have to do that, otherwise you're going to lose. So it's
yeah,
like interesting how that benefits. I completely agree, and it's interesting that a lot of Magic players who get into this game, they often say very similar things and what pulled them in, because there's a lot of like congruence with Magic, but there's a lot of differences, and I think those differences are just they're refreshing, they're fun, they're not necessarily better, it's just different, and I think sometimes that's necessary, and it's a good card game, like it's well designed. But
yeah. Yeah, obviously the arts and stuff are great. The flavor is great. Obviously, it's Star Wars IP, so
yeah, yeah, huge
it's always
win.
gonna it's always gonna do well on that part, and it's always after like is the game system good? Is it sustainable
Absolutely.
and stuff? And I think this one is.
Yeah, obviously I don't want to like pit games against each other, but like what do you like about this game versus Magic, right? Magic's got its own thing going on, but like what do you appreciate in this game versus if you were to like speak to a Magic player right now, you're a Magic pro, like you like this game, how would you convince them to try it out?
Yeah, so what I like the most about Magic is the depth, like in deck building, and preparation, and yeah, basically you have no you do have restrictions which are colors, but not really. Like as the game developed and stuff, like if fetches, it's easy to splash. It's like you can always add something to your deck. You have no restriction really. The restriction is you increase the risk of something else. And that's what I love about Magic. That's really like preparing for events has always been my strength. Preparing, like choosing the right deck or perfect tuning of a known deck or a new deck. But the gameplay is actually where I suck the most. Like obviously not terrible, but for like I played on the Proto for 10 years, and I would say that I was probably in the lower tier of the technical players.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
but I don't think that matters that much if you show up with like a good deck and good plans.
Right.
As long as you're basically prepared, it's going to be fine. You might get outplayed sometimes, but and so that's what I really like about Magic. But I think I actually think the gameplay in Magic is not that great compared to a bunch of other games that I tried, especially Star Wars. That Star Wars, I think that's where it shines. I think the gameplay is much more interesting and much more uh, like skill expressing. I don't know if that's the right word, but um, whereas Magic is very scripted. Basically,
It is
when
very
you prepare for an
scripted.
event, you know a matchup, you know you can play the game in your head basically and figure out that like, oh, this cyborg card would be good because like when I understand the patterns of this matchup, and it's almost always going to happen. Like on average, this is what's going to happen. So I can play this card on turn 5, and it's going to do something. Whereas in Star Wars, I think because of the actions, like chess-like system, you can deviate from a pattern if you feel like your opponent is stuck in a pattern. Like they think that the matchup goes this way because most other players play it that way. I feel like you have much more expression in changing the pattern with the same cards. You could just
Yeah.
like, oh, on this turn, I'm not gonna attack. I'm not gonna play a spell. I'm just gonna take initiative because next turn I can do something that like fucks them up, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
so yeah, definitely like the gameplay in Star Wars, I love, and then that's the part I dislike the most about Magic. I don't hate it in Magic, obviously, but I think it could be improved.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I would agree with that. Where like certain, especially because I played Pauper, I'd be like literally I play Delver, or I play like a one drop fairy, play a Delver, play another fairy, ninjutsu, and like if they can't disrupt that, I instantly win the game. And like I just gonna get card value. It's very scripted.
Yeah,
Where in Star Wars Unlimited, it's interesting where it's like you know, in my opening hand I had this two costed creature unit, or this two costed creature unit, and because I lost last game because I played this one, which I thought was good, this one actually can directly counter the card I saw in game one. And the very minor differences of like 1 point of power can completely flip the game. It's interesting how that, yeah, I resonate with that a lot.
yeah. Like the first game that so one of my friend was, I think, played a bunch of games before the game even came out. I think maybe was Carabast around even before like the game came out? No?
No,
Was there another platform maybe or
you could play on online simulators. Yeah, you could
okay.
play on online simulators.
Okay, well, I don't know if he played or just like had information and watched people play or something like that, but he was like you understood all the metagaming decks in set one and all that stuff. And so I played a few games with him and those were the first construct games that I played. And I was playing Sabine, so aggro deck versus like a classic control deck. I don't remember what the control deck was, but in every card game ever, it's like the aggro player versus the control player. The aggro is the aggressor, and his plan is to kill the control player before they start playing things. They start taking over, right?
Yeah.
And control player role is to survive. And as much as I understood that I was playing the aggro and they were playing control, it like the game plan felt very not as obvious, and it felt like I could do a bunch of different things other than just like 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, aggro, like kill you, burn spell. It just felt so much more complicated, and that was like a point where I was like, oh, I really want to play this game. Like it's very interesting that it's not obvious which 2 drop you should play because it depends which defensive 2 drop they play. You
Yep.
might want to have the information, so you might not even want initiative to start with. And all of that like kind of broke all the rules of the usual aggro versus control of any card game. And I was like, that's sick.
Yeah, like if you play Sabine against certain matchups, like if you're playing against Han Solo, they can play the readied Falcon on turn one by cheating out a resource. So sometimes you ping with Sabine, if they have the initiative, you ping, see if they play the Falcon, then you lane dodge and go into ground and just avoid the space lane. And like
Yeah,
you're the
exactly.
aggro deck, but you're actually playing big brain against the mid range. It's
You're playing
interesting.
chicken. You're playing
Yeah.
chicken to maximize the play to make that
Yeah.
happen. Like it, yeah, it's awesome.
Like that was the first time where I was like, "Oh my gosh," my head exploded because I was like, you don't just play Goblin Guide, swing, and turn. You know, it's like
Yep.
that's not how it works. So, yeah, it was really interesting. Do you have it like on the flip side? Do you have any concerns about the game? Like, hey, these are certain things that, and if you don't, if you haven't played it enough, but like any concerns you have with the gameplay at all or your experiences yet?
Yeah, well, obviously, generally when a game has great gameplay, it doesn't have the other aspect which I like about Magic's like preparation, deck building, and all that stuff. It's usually very restrictive in that part, and I thought that about Star Wars at first because you're restricted to essentially two and a half colors, like your leader, your base, and
Yeah.
what do you call the other thing? Like heroism and villainy, like
Yeah,
what's
heroism
that
and
called?
villainy are the core colors, and then the four other colors are like your base
Okay.
or leader aspects. Aspects.
Yeah. So the fact that you were restricted by that, I was like, maybe that's a concern for like late design, just gonna run out of space of what they can do. But then I learned that you can actually play off color cards by paying
Yeah.
attacks, and I was like, that's genius.
Yeah. People were
I've
playing the
played,
Thoughtseize card in every deck. Like
yeah,
the villain decks are playing the Spark of Rebellion, which is basically better Thoughtseize. And like, 2 resources, which is like 1.5 in this game. If you were to compare it to
yeah,
Magic, it's not really 2, it's like 1.5. And you just
yeah.
like take anything. Like, oh my gosh, play this in every deck.
Yeah, that's really cool. And actually, when I learned about that, I was like, that seems insane for limited. Like, I really want to play limited of this game. So I've played
It's
the most
fun.
tournaments
Yeah.
that I played so far are the 2 releases. I played set 1 and set 2 pre-releases, and I thought that was just awesome because you, like, for example, there was like a trumpet blast, like 3 mana +2/+, so your board
Rallying
in set
Cry.
1,
Yeah, Rallying
and
Cry. Yep.
that's like the type of card that the how much it costs doesn't really matter. Like, it's way more important, is it good in your deck? Because it's a card.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm comparing to Magic, obviously, because in this game's a bit different, but it's just an example. Like, in Magic, if it's good in your deck, you would probably pay 5 for it
Yeah.
if you have the deck, like a go wide deck, but you wouldn't splash it. But like in this game, just because it costs. So, for example, the same example as Thoughtseize, or like maybe just a removal. In set 2, I played I think there's like a capture removal. I don't remember what it is. I think it costs like 3, and then you cap. It's like Fiend Hunter and Magic, like a
Oh, is it Relentless
take,
Pursuit or Take Captive? Yeah, it's like Oblivion Ring or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And my deck was good, but it lacked removal. And I'm like, oh, I can just play these cards and it costs more. And yeah, I honestly, I hope that there is like competitive Star Wars in limited, because I want to do that.
Yeah, they're not doing there's no limited at like the worlds level because they said not yet. But they
Yeah, it
said
makes
people
sense.
in the community asked they could make limited a part of like qualifying for day 2 of Worlds. So it's possible, but they said for the first year, there's none. So
I definitely agree with not doing it right off the bat. Like, you don't want to confuse players with a bunch of formats.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
start with one. But yeah, we will run drafts at the store when there's enough product.
And there's enough product. That's a whole different thing. But set 2 product has been fine. I don't know about you, but set 2, the allocation, we haven't run out of boxes in my area, where the first set boxes were gone in 3 weeks and they were gone for good. Like, they were just gone.
Yeah, we got a lot of stock because we, like, as a store, we pre-ordered a lot, even when demand was somewhat low. But so we were able to get good allocation for set 2 because of that, but we still ran out after a week, and we haven't gotten a restock since. So, and it's in Canada right now, basically you can't find any boxes since a week after release.
Oof! Wow,
Yeah,
that's
so it's
wild.
rough.
Yeah, I know they're gonna ramp it up. Just from what I hear, things are gonna get better.
Yeah.
The game has done so well. They didn't think it was gonna be this popular, so the product has sold out way more. Which kind of attests like to why someone like you is playing the game, right? It's like it's pulling people. It's pulling people in because of the gameplay and the card design and the IP. It's got like the trifecta there.
Yeah.
So I guess like one of the last questions here is like, what do you want to see out of competitive play, like worlds and regional championships and stuff like that, or planetary and galactic championships? What do you want to see out of that for prizing? Are you going to participate? Do you want to become a pro in this game if that's something that you can do?
Yeah, for sure. As I said, like, I was glued to the OP stream. I just wanted to find out how it's gonna work. Can I play without committing like a shit ton of time like I used to when I played Pro Magic before?
Yeah.
And if so, like, then I will very likely do that instead of Magic for maybe the next 6 months or so. Like, I'm already registered for the first Planetary Qualifier. That's in Montreal. And I just, in the past like 2 weeks, I've played the most amount of games that I've played since the game came out.
Yeah.
So
what are you playing right now? What deck are you trying?
So I'm playing Sabine a lot because Sabine ECL, because
Sabine!
it's a classic, right? You start a game, you play the aggro deck. But yeah, generally I do that just to learn the game. It's easier when you're not overwhelmed with having to play a million turns every game. But I actually find the deck is very intricate and hard to play, and actually hard to figure out what the good list is.
I'm
probably gonna stick with that because I'm winning a lot with it, and I understand it. I feel like I understand how to build it differently than others, I think. and yeah, so I played that, but also I played the Han yellow deck that so the guy that you had on one of your
Yeah,
videos, that
Ian.
one Ian, yeah.
Yeah,
I watched your video because I saw the list, I saw that you won 2 events with it, and I
land
looked at it and
destruction.
I was
Boom.
like, this deck does this deck looks sick. It looks really hard to play. It looks really good. It looks like you need to understand every single deck in the format to play correctly against it. But I was like, I felt like humbled when I looked at it because like there's no way I can play this deck properly. And
Yeah.
I did play 5 games with it. I crushed, and every time it just felt like it was my fault. And so it just kind of like frustrated me, and I was like, I need to get better at this game because I need to be able to play this deck. It looks really good.
Yeah. Oof, that deck is wild. That card. This is my personal opinion. I personally think that Han Solo, where he says you can defeat a resource you control,
Yeah.
the fact that he can defeat the DJ stolen resource is, to me, needs to be fixed, because
Yeah.
Lando Calrissian from set 2 doesn't have that. You have to own and control the resource
Okay.
you defeat. It is so degenerate to steal a resource and to go up. So it's land ramp and land destruction in one, which like doesn't
Yeah.
exist in Magic. That's never even existed.
Yeah, it's like
Has
it's
it?
like Annex. It's a 2 blue. It's enchant land aura, and then you steal a land.
Is that from like beta?
No, it's like Onslaught. It was reprinted like in 10th edition or 9th edition. It was played. I played that in a standard deck in like 2007 or something like that.
Yeah, there's a reason
Like
why they haven't remade that card, because it creates really bad gameplay.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that needs to be fixed. It's so wild. And the whole tech thing, like control, how does control beat tech? Like, if you're a good player and you pull that tech out after like a board wipe, it's like I just replay like 3 cards from nothing. Like, it's crazy. Especially in Han Solo when you're like, you have 8 or 9 resources or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, that makes me think, now that you talk about tech and smuggle in general, when you ask me about concerns about the game, one thing that I'm concerned about is like the constant manipulating of your resources. That gets me, as someone who played pro Magic and have been cheated on and have seen a bunch of players come out as cheaters, and just people are going to cheat, right? And that seems like an extremely easy way to cheat. And I
like
will
to swap a card from their hand that's a smuggler or something.
Yeah,
or
like it's very easy to confuse your hand and your resources because they're both, face down cards. And now even more with smuggle, you're always gonna like be looking at your resources, and like for set 1, when I played the pre-release, the first thing I did, I saw that and I was like, oh, that seems very easy to pick up a resource, like even not maliciously, obviously, not as cheating. And so I was trying to play super like clean. Like I would always drop my hand, either keep the cards in my hand, or when I had to drop it to like search magic, whatever, put it super far away from my resources and like be super careful. And now with smuggle, it feels like it's just I'm gonna be stressed out when I play games, just because I need to like constantly look at my opponent and make sure they don't cheat,
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's a huge
like
problem. That's a huge problem with the hand. There are a lot of people who now have like little like metal tokens to place on their hand to show that there's a marker. I don't know if it's official yet, but I feel like at competitive levels, it should be required to have like a hand designation. If you put your hand down, like you have to put something on top of it to designate what it is. Because I don't like holding my cards, because like if I'm in the finals of a match, I do get sweaty hands. I'll go 5-0 or 6-0, and then like when I need to go 7-0, that's when I'm like, oh, now I'm stressed out. I'm like, and I like to set my cards down. And there were a couple times where like I pulled my cards and it snagged a resource and it almost like went into my hand when I like slid them off the table. And I'm like, oh, this was the card. I like pulled it out. I'm like, I'm sorry. But it just made me feel weird. I'm like, that felt weird. I didn't even try to do that. And it kind of looked like cheesy, like I was trying to cheat or something. And I feel like that's good. There are people who are malicious and who are going to like do stuff like that on purpose. And that's a really interesting concern to bring up, because it's something I've thought about, but I didn't think about it in the like at Worlds, or in like on a game that's not on camera. If somebody cheats, it still blows my mind that there's, what's his name, Alex whatever, who's cheated so many times on camera.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it, dude. Like, come on. Like, you're gonna get caught. Reddit's a place. You're done. You're cooked. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, some people do it because there's a bunch of money to win, right? And so for the same reason people steal or whatever. So yeah, it's just bound to happen, and it feels like they're giving it for free for the cheaters to do it with that system. Again, it's a great system though, so hopefully I'm just going to stay hopeful that people are clean and that they're not malicious. But it's still going to stress me out a little bit if I have to play like a high level event, because I feel like I won't be able to concentrate 100% on my side of things if I always have to watch my opponent to not be cheating, right?
Yeah, hopefully, like at the top tables, like if you make it through, obviously that's where people are probably going to cheat, right? Is like the day one kind of stuff. But hopefully they have judges that are watching once you get higher up, where you could focus on the gameplay. That is going to be a problem for sure. People cheat in any game. It's unfortunate. So the second part of my question was like, competitively, what are you looking for in prizing? Cash? Look at One Piece. There was that Luffy promo that sold for over $20,000 because that guy won a championship. Like, what are you looking for? Would you be happy with like hyper exclusive showcase Luke invaders? Are you looking for, cash prize out? I know that like that pulls a lot of people to a game. So like, what are you looking for? What do you think would be good for competitive play?
Yeah, I think if they do something like Magic has started doing and Lorcana is doing, just like giving very exclusive promos, I think it's a win for everyone, basically. It gets around laws, like weird laws of cash prizes. It gets around taxes, just like you're not getting taxed on your prize.
Yeah, it's a
You
piece of
you might
cardboard,
be when you
guys.
sell the
Yeah.
card, but that's your problem after. And it creates value, so the company doesn't have to spend like, I don't know, $50,000 for the winner. They just print a card, and so they can allocate money for something else, running a better event. I don't know, more events. And I was gonna say for stores especially too, like so Planetary Qualifiers, I think maybe they're getting like first place, maybe getting, I don't know if we have this information yet, but like if they get like a card that's one of only the winners of the Planetary Qualifiers, like it's great for the stores that are hosting it because they don't have to spend a bunch of money on a price structure. They just get that. The players are happy. So I think that's a good system if they do that. Based on what I saw from the other FFG games, that's what they do. Like they give out like exclusive play mats, and
Yeah.
hopefully it's not play mats because
Yeah.
like
Let me
the play
see.
mats can only be worth so much.
Yeah, like this was the top 16 Gen Con playmat. People are
Oh,
offering me like
nice.
$300, $400 for it.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's like a piece of rubber. I'm fine. If somebody wants to pay me $400 cash, like, hit me up. Let's do it. Like, buy it.
Nice.
I
It's a
don't care about that.
good
Like,
ad
I'll
for
just
you
use
right here.
I'll use a old Magic playmat. I don't care.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm just hoping that they have like that they were able to create a, because I'm pretty sure they're not going to give out cash prizes right off the bat. That's maybe they will, but I think if they're able to come up with just like cool promotional stuff that they can give out as winners
hmm
that are for sure worth a lot of money. Obviously, they can't like predict that, but if the game goes well, it should. So yeah, I'm just waiting for that. I'm definitely, now that I own a business, I have a real job. I'm definitely playing the game not the way I used to play Magic professionally for, which was my income.
Yeah.
Now I can just play the game and actually enjoy it and don't actually play for prizes. But if I do spend like 2 months preparing for an event, I'd still like some form of reward if I win, right?
Yeah, same here. Same here. Yeah, that's how I feel about this playmat. And I got some other stuff. I got the convention exclusive like Vader and Palpatine. I don't know if you saw that. They were like all
Oh yeah,
black.
they look sick.
They are so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
got one of those when I was at Gen Con. I would personally, when I was in high school, I was like, I would love to qualify for the Pro Tour because did they not pay for your plane ticket and your lodging and everything? Do they
Yeah.
still do that? Is that
They
still-
don't anymore. It was a hassle for them to like book
Yeah, logistically.
flights, and logistically it's a hassle. So instead what they do is that if you go to the Pro Tour, you have a minimum cash. So even if you're dead last, I think it's like 1,000. So it pays for most,
Most.
So
That's
I think
awesome.
I think that's better.
Yeah, that's way cooler. Yeah, I hope they do something like that where it's like, if I'm gonna fly and get a Airbnb, and like have to buy food and groceries and like for a weekend, that's going to cost me, you know, over $1,000.
Yeah.
And if I'm there to compete to win, like I hope that there's something in it, you know, and that would be great for me just because, you know, I work as well full time. I have kids now and a house, and like for me, those are my main priorities. This is like a side thing, and it's my main hobby. It's my main interest. Like I like doing it. I mean, I have Star Wars posters, right? And so like I like doing it, but I'm not gonna like shell out thousands for it, you know? Like I can't do that. It just doesn't make sense from like my life goals. But because kind of like you said, like maybe if I was in college or I was in my early 20s, I could try and do, if there were prizing and cash, maybe I could supplement my income with that. But that's not going to happen with this. Like I'm making way more money working than I would ever being a professional card game player. At least, yeah. So
Yeah, we're
that'd be
doing
cool
it for
to
the
see.
honor.
What was that? The honor? Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing it for the honor.
Yeah. That's what I say, for the glory. Yeah.
Yeah.
My best finish was a first place cash tournament in Madison, Wisconsin. It was like a 56 player tournament. And
Star Wars?
yeah, it was Star Wars Unlimited. Yeah. And we, me in the finals, it was like 11 p.m. It was like started at 10, went to 11 p.m. We split the cash, but I'm like, we got to play, man. Like I want to play for glory, and I won. So I'm like, you got to play for the glory. The money paid for the gas. So
yeah, it's cool that it's already taken off, like, and there's a bunch of events already, because here it's not the case, but again, it's mostly because there's just like no products. So it's really hard for anyone to even build enough decks or have prizes and packs or boxes. So it's hard, but there's definitely a demand and people are hyped, and I am hyped.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is there anything else I guess you want to say? Anything on the game? Any comments at all?
No, I don't think so.
Great.
I think
Awesome.
you're pretty good at covering everything.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you so much. And everyone who's watching this, go to the Mythic store. I'll link it in the description down below. Just really appreciate your time, Pascal, and excited to get more Magic players in this game because I want higher level competition. I want Worlds to be the best of the best and to be great players from other card games as well. So you're one of them. I'm glad to have you in the community.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see each other and most of your viewers at Worlds. That's going to be my goal for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'll see you there. All right, thanks so much.
Thanks
Bye.
for having me.